They say to shut up, they say to be quiet. Others they say to please come out and find me. Make me a topic like Carson and Kylie. I see what you're saying, the system in line. The kid in the time and the shift in the 90s. DuPont on the line, PPG in the fight. And your people denying the media giants. Don't give a shit to your Jason O'Brien. Let me tell you. Yeah, they tell me I should talk about it. Oh, come on, let's talk about it.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here, definitely live with Thomas Kennedy, who's having a very interesting situation happening right now. And, well, I got a lot of things going on as well myself. But we got Thomas Kennedy on the phone. And Thomas, obviously, you're well known for being one of the top Canada racers, especially in wing sprint cars. And in my opinion, that means you're one of the best. But you have a weird situation that has kind of occurred here recently with, obviously, everybody's had a weird situation occur with this COVID deal. But you especially, because, I mean, there's some dirt races starting to kick off and being, I said held hostage. But, hey, it's not that far off from what it's sounding like. What's going on over there?
Yeah, I guess you could say, Canada's kind of holding everybody hostage from traveling anywhere. At the same time, I get it. They're being a little precautionary measures going on, but I feel that, if you're healthy and you want your freedom, you should be able to go out and do what you want. And if somebody needs to quarantine for a week, then that'll be. But right now, the original opening date for the borders were set for May 20th, but apparently I checked yesterday and now it's June 1st tentatively. And then after that, for the foreseeable future, 2 weeks of quarantine, which in my opinion, I think is a little outrageous in my case, because, now that racing season started, I'll be going every week. And for me to try and quarantine, well, that's kind of a lost cause, because I still got to go to work, do my job. And as long as somebody's healthy, doesn't feel sick, then there should be no reason why you have to quarantine.
Now, I'm assuming you were trying to go to the South Dakota race that happened there at Park Jefferson?
Yeah. So my dad, he tried to, he called the border. They said, no, racing is non-essential, so you cannot cross. So then we called a brokerage. They tried to get something going. They said, no, it can't happen. You're not an essential business. Our business alone in Winnipeg is essential because we sell to for construction projects to dealers that sell our flooring. But in the sense of racing, the U.S.-Canadian border considers racing a non-essential business. So that's why we've been having a tough time trying to get down south. And, there's no use us trying with the rig if we're just going to get turned around and sent back. And the moment we go into the States and then get turned around and go back, they make us quarantine for 2 weeks.
So you're basically in a lose-lose situation. Has anything developed? Obviously, here in the States, there's states opening back up. There's attorney generals, with the country apparently going to try to force some states to open up, kind of, reinstate the Constitution in some of these areas where the governors or mayors are wanting to stay with the plan that's at place right now. What do y'all actually have? Obviously, it's another country. Constitution is an American thing. Not too many people know what Canada has as far as, actually any rights or things along those lines. What do y'all actually have in this situation as citizens?
Well, right now, there's a few weeks ago, our premier of Manitoba, he actually implemented, it was Easter weekend, he implemented a no large gathering situation. If you were, let's say my wife and I, we went to the grocery store and let's say that technically, let's just say that we didn't live together, even though we do, but let's say we didn't, and our driver's license had different, addresses on it, and we were caught, we could get up to $1,000 fine and 6 months in jail. So there's been a lot of that stuff going around. There was a father who took his two sons out a couple of weeks ago in Ontario, went rollerblading, and he was stopped by the cops and fined over $880. Why would somebody do that when it's its own sons? It's just gotten ridiculous. So let's speed up to now. Finally, our our provincial government is starting to open up things slowly, starting May 4th on Monday. So it's going to be businesses like hair salons, daycares, just things that are essential to your everyday life, that we need. There's still a lot of businesses that aren't ready to open up because of the regulations that are happening right now. But once everybody gets things rolling, then hopefully our economy can start thriving again and everybody can get back to work.
So y'all, unlike here in the Americas, they're kind of letting the hair salon thing be a last type of resort that's coming to be. Y'all are going to open everything up at the same time, basically, or
Well,
just.
So there's a three-step phase. So the initial phase will be like hair salons and things like that. I didn't really look too in depth on it. The first phase is going to be like small gatherings. So I think they're going to keep it at no more than 10 people for gatherings. So I would assume that would go the same thing for places like hair salons and all that. The second phase is allow parks, like provincial parks, to open up to X amount of people, gatherings. And I think the third phase is start really opening up everything, allow weddings to happen, larger gatherings, while still limiting the amount of people that are allowed to attend. And part of the third phase apparently is allowing sporting events to start up again, but with a limited amount of people presently watching the sporting event. So I would assume that would mean the NHL, basketball, and all those other big events that holds 15, 20, 30,000 people.
Now, when this thing happens on May 4th, how is that actually going to affect you? Are you going to be able to go across the border, or is that quarantine in effect situation still the case?
So the whole they call it restricted traveling. So as of right now, they've extended the restricted traveling measures to June 1st. So technically, I'm not allowed to cross the border until after June 1st. In which case,
wow, that's a lot of stuff you're gonna miss down here racing wise for sure.
Yeah, well, yeah, like originally it was May 20th, but when I checked yesterday on the news, they said that as of right now, it's looking like June 1st. And once things open up, they're still going to make you quarantine for 2 weeks, which I think is just ridiculous. Like, there's no reason for it. If people are afraid of catching this flu, this fast, producing flu, then stay home.
Well, that's true. Is there any kind of restrictions that you have to do to even be out? And honestly, like, obviously we got, the face masks and all that social distancing that we're having or suggesting to do. A lot of people are somewhat rebelling by not doing it. That seems to be the middle finger to this deal, is to not put on your mask, not go out there and do that stuff. I mean, I have my own little long live the Chaz mask, so I'm going to wear one, but that's just for fun and giggles. I'm almost laughing at the whole situation. But with how it is up there and how it is down here, you're going to be going back to normal May 4th. And I've heard a lot of people actually going back and forth on the border. Is it really just that you're a rig? It's a whole nother deal than just somebody's, Mazda coming by, and it's an eye-catching deal, because obviously diesels and freight have been a big deal throughout this entire situation.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I haven't heard anybody trying to get across the border. I haven't heard anything in news about people getting across the border. From what I've seen and what I have read, and I even called the border yesterday, and they're still not allowing people to cross the border unless you're an essential part of what's been going on. So if you're a nurse or if there's something family, I think, pressing, I think there's things like that, but you've got to show proof that there's a family situation going on. So I know Ricky Weiss, really good late model driver here in the city. He came back, I don't know, maybe a month ago. Obviously, he was allowed into the country, but then he had to quarantine for 2 weeks. But as of right now, racers are not allowed to cross the border. That's what I was told. That's what my dad's been told till June 1st from what I see. As far as the way people are going about things, stores like Costco, Safeway, No Frills, they're making you use a shopping cart to to perform a, in quotes, social distancing type deal. So
What do you got to strap one on your backside or something, or
Yeah,
to your left and
right.
your right? What do
Yeah.
you mean? What the heck? I know this
Yeah,
Trudeau
so
guy up there ain't that great to a lot of people. It seems like it's like y'all got a Newsom up there running a country. But keep going.
pretty much, even people that voted him in are getting sick of him just because of all of the taxes and everything else that he's implementing. Carbon tax increases. Even during the crisis when it first started, he increased it by between 30 and 50%. So it went like from 4.66 cents a liter, it was like 6.66 cents a liter for carbon tax. So it's
Wow.
it's just getting ridiculous. Like shopping stores, like grocery stores is what I meant to say. They have one-way stickers on the floor. So I've heard people that have gone the wrong way and they get all looked at funny and told like, oh, you can't go that way. Well, it's like what like. The whole thing is, once everybody gets back to normal, everybody's going to forget about all that stuff, right? And then everything's going to be fine and dandy afterwards.
Well, and I do think it's funny how some of the doctor videos that come out and try to explain immunity and herd immunity and being in contact with viruses and other people every day is how you naturally defend yourself against this stuff. And it seems like that's just the common sense has been pushed out of this so much. It's almost like it's a test, to see how many people will literally walk off the side of the mountain on some things,
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like, a herd of sheep, right? Follow the lead. I don't know. I'm getting sick of it. Pretty much everybody's starting to get sick of it. I hate doing nothing. I can't go anywhere. I'm a sales rep for a flooring company. I work out of Ontario in the GTA area for a whole week. I can't even go out there. I don't even know when I can go back out there because they apparently their premier has a three-step phase in place as well. But from what I've heard, they have to have no more than a certain amount of new cases happening each day in order for them to really start opening things up and allow travel through in and out of the province. But it's like anything else. People still get in and out of the province. It's just a matter of people have been getting pulled over trying to get across the provinces that we can ticketed. There's somebody not in the family, but a friend who I guess got ticketed $1,500 just for trying to cross.
So you actually know somebody who was actually ticketed because
not
of this.
Not personally, but somebody that I know that knows somebody that did. Yes, correct.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the story with who's actually had the COVID-19 or coronavirus too. It's always someone But I actually did get in contact with a sister of a racer in Ohio. We're going to have her on here coming up in the next few days trying to figure out a way to get it. But she actually did get the coronavirus and actually thought she was going to die, and she did recover. I don't doubt that it's not real. I just doubt the implementation of rules and restrictions on human beings. It's just insane what they're doing. Now, for you, can obviously you and your rig can't come down here, but is there a way for you to come down here, just you on your own and drive a car?
No, not really. Like again, like I said, I'm considered non-essential, right? Like unless I'm military. I have a buddy who's registered from Quebec that I play hockey with. He's in the military, so technically he could cross because he's military, because he's considered an essential person. Like he's actually on 48-hour notice, him and his wife, to fly out to Quebec to help out all the senior homes, because the military is getting in now to help out all the senior homes with what's been going on there, because that's what's been hit the hardest in Canada, which I would assume it's the same in the States, which, it's unfortunate, but it kind of makes sense in a way, because, people who are elderly, they're more at risk, right? The elderly people, the people that have respiratory problems, they're the ones that should be afraid. But when it comes to the healthy people, working out all the time, never really get sick, there should be people shouldn't panic. And that's the whole thing. Like my grandparents, they don't really care. Like they do to a point, but at the same time, they're not like, losing their mind over this. They're taking, the steps that are required. Wash your hands after you go out in public, like stuff like that, But but to be in like hysteria and not go out of your house ever, that's just a little overboard.
Yeah, definitely. I know you got to get out of here. You didn't have too much time.
No, I've got about 5 more minutes.
You got
We're
about
good
5
here.
more. Okay, so in this
Yeah,
5
yeah.
more minutes, I want to talk about this lab that y'all got up there. That I saw a conspiracy theory on it the other day. How there's a lab somewhere up there in Manitoba that may have
Yeah.
some connection with the actual Wuhan, and it's kind of like Chinese-based people running the center or something like that. What's going on with
Yeah,
that?
yeah. So we have the level 4 disease lab. I think we're only one of like 4 or 5 in the world or something like that I heard. Like it's like very minimal. It's like under 5. Like so, the worst diseases that you could ever think of are tested, at this lab.
Similar to the lab that they're accusing had the
Yes, exactly.
outbreak.
Wuhan. Yeah. So actually, there was an article that resurfaced from last year in regards to an internal investigation on some. I didn't really read in depth, but something to do with something that was going on, like something leaked out, sort of thing. And then all of a sudden, this coronavirus started. And apparently, from what I've been told, I know people. I have family that work at hospitals. I'm not saying that any of them told me this, but I heard that they do actually have COVID-19 in that lab, and that they've had it for quite some time. Now that's just again another theory. There's other theories, the people that are eating bats and snakes, and like there's so many different theories,
Well,
right?
I mean,
it's just crazy. Like there could probably be about 100 different theories, but it's like which one's true, right?
well,
you just don't know.
when you look into a lot of this stuff, I mean, China does actually own and control a lot of stuff. Most of your big investment groups have a lot of Chinese money in there. China made a lot of money with a lot of the trade deals in the 90s and has a lot of power. And people get mad at them and all that stuff. But who knows? They probably have a tab on everybody. I say it's kind of funny forwards and backwards, backwards is tab. So maybe this is their way. Oh, you want to get mad at us? Well, you got a tab, buddy. You got a tab. Here, pay for it. They did a good job if that was the case, because economies are hurting. All different kinds of things are hurting. Most of the movie industry is owned by China. And you see the heavy performance areas, like performing arts areas, being the ones standing firm on some of these restrictions. So there's always a lot of things in the background. I honestly think there's an outside shot. This was about resources, because the oil companies got hit real hard.
Oh, a huge minus in the minus.
Well, and we need, or they're trying to go to a more renewable energy. And the closest thing to getting to nuclear power that's clean is helium-3, and that's located on the moon.
Okay.
So if you're going to do something like that, you got to have big oil behind you, because most of your wars and everything like that have been for resources, which might have, what I'm thinking about, going to the moon and all that. You use the military a little bit with your Space Force, and you put Top Gun 2 together, with trying to influence new people to join, because I think in Top Gun 2 there's like a Space Force jet, so
Yeah.
it lines up perfectly with that being the actual plan. But you had to bankrupt the big oil companies first to get on board and fund such a thing. So I think that's a side shot as well. But the conspiracy theories are wide and crazy. I mean, 5G. I mean, even that's been thrown out there.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is, going back to the whole space deal, I was at the Pentagon just released last week an article with like proof of UFOs videos,
Yes,
from
they
like the
did.
airports and all that.
Yes,
So,
it's all about getting the mine going so the tax dollars can fund it too.
Exactly. Like a lot of people aren't naive. Like, obviously there's a lot of naive people out there, but not everybody is, and there's a lot of conspiracy theorists, right? Do I believe that there's other life in the universe? Yeah. I would be like, there's no way that we could be only ones. You never know. We could be. You just never know, right? There's so many.
Hey, lizard people
so many
and David
questions,
Icke.
but where are the answers, right?
Lizard people and David. I've been saying if there's an alien out there, it's going to be smarter than us. So it's going to manipulate us. And,
for sure,
so,
for sure. They can visit all they want. Just I don't want to get probed. I want to stay away from that area.
Hey, we don't probe, lines. Maybe they'll look at us like lions. They'll just put us in cages and have us as an observation, standpoint. Which modern houses are close to cages? Keep going.
Yeah. So on So other than this coronavirus, I've seen that you've been iRacing a lot. How's that been going?
A little bit. I haven't raced probably in a month, but I mean, I did it there for a little bit. I was competitive. I finished third in one of the broadcast races, but
That's good.
it's just I race is one of those things that starts out fun, and then
Yeah,
eventually,
Chaz.
and then
You
you
get
get
frustrated.
wrecked, and people don't care and frustrated, and then I had a friend who bought a rig for $750 and it was only worth 250, and it was by one of his one of his fans, or one of he was a fan of a driver, and that driver did that to him, and I couldn't believe it. So that kind of just, yeah, I'm not gonna, everybody's trying to get over. You see webcams, steering wheels, all the electronic stuff to help you have fun inside is getting. There's so many wrong deals going out right now, and I mean, the iRacing's fun, but I think it's coming to an end. That's what I do think it's coming to an end because the real racing's kicking off. It had
Well,
its
that's the
spurt.
thing, right? And then that's the thing, like, all the racers that race, they have nothing really to do right now. So yeah, heck yeah, might as well get on the bandwagon and iRace. And that's what I did. I've been doing it for 2 weeks now. I've been an avid gamer for 3 years, first person shooter. But that's been about it. And then once this iRacing deal came out, I bought myself a steering wheel. I didn't buy the sim or anything, but I bought the steering wheel and pedals, and I've had quite a bit of fun. The Knoxville Regular Invitational Series, that's been a lot of fun because not everybody's really like too serious about it. We're all having fun, and it's been a great group of guys. Matt Johnson, he started putting on, now he has the Powerpuff race, so the girls can get involved. It's been great. And we got another one tonight. And my wife, she's excited for that, and all the girlfriends and wives of all the other racers or retired racers are as well. Other than that, once racing season starts, I won't be racing. Maybe once here or there, every once in a blue moon. But yeah, no, it'll definitely die down a lot. But hey, for this whole ordeal that's been going on, certain areas have thrived more than they ever have, right? And so I just want to get everybody and everything, all businesses back to normal, and hopefully everybody can thrive again and make money so we can do what we love.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely coming. The iRacing thing will probably get a little bit a publicity throughout this. Obviously, it did. I also think that it did expose sprint car racing, late model racing, to a lot of a new fan, new population that never seen it before. I think that's the biggest problem with dirt racing is most people, you mention dirt track racing, they think you're talking about some kind of dirt bike or supercross. They don't know what you're talking about.
Well,
So
just like the whole thing with the South Dakota race. They had TMZ trying to bash shit. And I give kudos to the governor of South Dakota. She has freaking big balls. To do something like that, which is great. I'm glad to see it. Big kudos to the McCarl family for going out of their way to get something going. Hopefully other tracks can start doing the same thing and, pretty much give the middle finger to everything, and let's get everything back up and running and go racing again. And I guarantee you dirt racing is going to thrive a lot more than it ever has, because people have been sick of doing nothing, and they're going to want some entertainment, so they're going to go to the racetrack.
Well, yeah, and I think more people would just tune into dirt if they saw it exposing it. I think pushing dirt not as so much of a stepping stone to NASCAR like you see a lot of people use it as, and that seems to be the path ever since the Jeff Gordon, Trickle era. I think projecting this is more so UFC and NASCAR's boxing. Two completely different kind of disciplines. And I think that's the way to go. Maybe pay-per-view is going to be a better route than TV for us, just like it was for USC. And apparently that South Dakota race did big numbers, huge numbers, enough numbers
Yeah.
where you can have $1 million purse at every single race.
Well,
So,
I'm glad to see that too. And like I said, the McCarls, and not even the McCarls, the racetrack too. They put their neck on their line, to get that thing going, and it's nice to see. It's really nice to see, and I'm glad that I'm thankful, even though we didn't get to cross the border race. I'm thankful that a lot of people stepped up to sponsor the race, and to allow these guys from California and Ophils and like the Zero Frost and everybody else around the area to come up here to South Dakota and race. It's great.
Well, but there wasn't no damn Kennedy. There wasn't
What's
a
right?
Thomas Kennedy at the race.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
there wasn't a damn Thomas Kennedy at the race.
I wish, but you know, nothing you can do when the government implements restrictions on traveling.
Well, I'm telling you what, that 10 minutes, it definitely looks like it's up. I'm assuming you're in trouble. Are you losing clients because of this? Because it's definitely been more than 10 minutes.
No, it's fine. I pushed back to the 3:40. So when as long as I am off by 3:40, then I can give them a call.
Okay.
So no, it's fine. No worries.
Okay. Yeah. The sim racing stuff and of course this Larson issue happened. It's hard to really even give thoughts on that. Obviously, I gave thoughts. I gave harsh thoughts on that. You know, I've tried to put it down as more so a distancing between different cultures where we don't interact enough anymore. I kind of brought up how, you know, I've been in an interracial relationship and, you know, been called the N-word lover, you know, so I know how that feels. And I also have seen the hardcore racist side, and I've seen, you know, like I said, the let's all work together side. And I think there's a big ignorance, you know, so many people try to defend it, and they didn't even know how to defend it, really. They were just saying, oh, black people use it all the time. No, they don't. But they knew that. They just wanted to blame everything but Kyle for making that mistake, which is what it was. But I do think he's getting a little bit unfair treatment. Obviously, in iRacing, you've heard that phrase way more than when Kyle Larson said it. I know you played it. You've probably been in some open lobbies, not anyone racing or that we know are associated with any of these things, but there's some open hosted servers where there's some, you know, immature little idiots in there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think the N-word should ever be used, especially when you're a huge star in the world, like of racing or acting or whatever. You know, that's something that you shouldn't say. You know, I get it that it was said, but it wasn't said out of ignorance. It was just said as like sort of like a joke, you know. And you know, hey, Kyle Larson, he's a great guy. I back him up no matter what. I'm a supporter of Kyle Larson. Do I agree with what he said? No, but everyone deserves second chances. I've heard, and I've said it on Twitter, I've heard a lot worse than the N-word playing video games over the years. Like there's things that you could. Like people that, well, what was said? What could be worse than saying the N-word? But there's no reason to say it, because if they don't understand it, then why it doesn't matter if they need to know or not.
Well,
right?
I mean, what could be worse than saying the N-word is possibly, you know, killing somebody on a dirt track in New York, and everybody wanted that to be okay. That didn't get as much punishment as what just happened. You know, a life was lost in that situation. Who's to blame? Who? Whatever. You know, I think it was a complete accident, but still. You know, sure somebody got killed, and that's not as bad as an incident as this.
Well, and that's the thing. It's just everybody's so sensitive nowadays, you know. And here's how I think about it. The people that say that are all against saying the N-word, I'm against saying it, but the people that are all up in arms about it, I guarantee you that at least once in their lifetime, they've said it singing to a rap song. I know people. I've gone to clubs.
Well, but that's a little different. That's a little different. When I say when Jackie Chan said in Rush Hour, "What's up, my nigga?" or "nigga, please," I say that with friends, with people who I respect. I don't think you go up to anybody and just say that. I think that's a respect that's earned. It replaces the word dude, or it replaces the word bro. And this is where I don't defend what Kyle Larson said, because it is two different words. Because even how Facento and him used it, it's replacing an insufficiency. Like, he right reared me. Oh, you can't drive, or can you hear me? You can't hear. I think how he used it, that ER and A, there's a big difference. And I've heard that explanation, but there's a huge difference, not only in the origins, because the ER came from, you know, actual slavery and mutilation and beatings, whereas the nigga please came from comedians and rappers who came out of those impoverished areas and rebranded a word, really. I mean, that's in my opinion, those are two different words. They ain't even in the same category, even though some people will use that to defend it or resonate with how Larson used it.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
think that's the case. But
All right, Chaz. Hey, sorry to cut it short, but I gotta go here. I'm getting zoomed right now.
oh boy, we're getting zoomed. We're getting zoomed. All right. Well,
All
thanks
right,
for
talk to you
tuning
later.
in, man.
All right, talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Thomas Kennedy calling in. Hey, I'll tell you what, that was getting really interesting there at the end. I mean, I'm going to stand by that. I think it's two different things. And, you know, like I said, I've been in a interracial relationship. I've been in one area, another area. It's all based on respect in a way and understanding. I think if we had a little bit more understanding in the world as far as that topic goes, a lot of things wouldn't be said. And a lot of things might be said a little more with understanding. We're a little bit too separated as a society. Racism is slowly dying away. That's why now you see media and all these people, instead of using race to separate people, they're using political ideology. You know, left, right. You know, black, white was used there for 100 years, or, well, it wasn't even really used for that long. You know, it really only started spurring off with the civil rights movements and all that. That's when it was all pick a side. Because before that, segregation was involved. Jim Crow laws. Everybody knew what side to be on. So I think that's something to take into account, is how media manipulates the masses. And that's kind of where you get to where Kyle Larson got to even use that word. I think some, you know, raisings are an issue. I think maybe the dirt track community is a little bit too disconnected from the regular world, as you call it. I guess that's why I shock people when I roll up and say, nobody knows who Donnie Schatz is. He's a nobody. And they get mad at me. And I say, well, it's because he lives in Kyle Larson's shadow. And then they get really mad at me. And it's like, go out and ask somebody who Donnie Schatz is. They don't know. Go ask them who a sprint car is. They don't know. We need to reconnect with the regular world just a little bit more. I think going to a USC route might be the way to do it. Before we get out of here, we got these, over there, face shields. We got a lot of different colors, but they're available on the website, longlivethechaz.com. I got mine coming in. I bought it. It takes about a week to get in, but I think they're really cool. Also, we got the supporters over there. Hey, I'm working on this new deal. The supporters of this year that have been on board. We also got some other supporters with links in the description, some businesses, not necessarily have sponsored the show, but they've helped out here. And I'm like, hey, I'll throw your business link on there too. Why not? I'm down. And we do all kinds of stuff. I want to thank once again Thomas Kennedy for calling in. This is going to be a new setup. I built this entire deal that you're watching right now. All these overlays and products and call-in overlays in about 2.5 hours. I have way more ideas, way more thoughts. I want to get a better camera because I really don't like this one. And thinking about going live at a lot of places too with some people live. And I think the call-ins, how we just did it, twice as better as it was before. Quality, hopefully I'm about to see. I think it's really way better. We're just over 30 minutes. And I really like how I got these. I mean, look at this. This was legit. Look at me. Look at old boy. Right over there. Is it over there? Yeah. Yeah. What's up? Hey, look at them checks. I think I looked at the checks. Did I? I looked at the dude with the weird looking face. Ugh. I don't want to do that again. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Thomas Kennedy for calling in. We got into some topics we would love to get in with more. Going to look to maybe do some more of this as far as calling in, like maybe multiple call-in. We can have how this is set up right now. I can do multiple call-ins, all kinds of people. We could have 3 people at once, you know, menage a trois this bitch. But anyways, I want to thank supporters. I want to thank Thomas Kennedy for calling in. And hey, we'll catch you next time here on Dirt Track State of Mind. Nope.
They say to shut up, they say to be quiet. Others they say to please come out and find me. Make me a topic like Carson and Kylie. I see what you're saying, the system in line. The kid in the time and the shift in the 90s. DuPont on the line.
Hey, I can move it. I can move it. Watch this.
Don't give a shit to your Jason or Brian.
I can do it.
Let me tell you.
Long live the Chaz, boys. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Don't care.
We'll catch you next time here on Long with the Chaz.
They say all I do is talk